Hey everyone, Lord Rho here, and today we are looking at when Leman Russ came face to face with Alpharius at the Battle of Alaxxes. Now, this is a continuation on from the previous upload where we covered Jaghatai Kahn declining to come to the aid of his embattled brother Russ, refusing his request for help, and, leaving him to fend for himself amidst the nebula. Usual spoiler warning from here on out. Today we are looking at events covered in the novel Wolf King, so if you are not up to date, go check it out first and then come back before continuing on. As always, I always recommend you do that way first, because not only do you get the most enjoyment out of it for yourself, but we're also helping to support the fantastic Black Library, and without them and their fantastic stories, we wouldn't be here discussing the love of the lore that we have. But without further ado, let's jump straight in. Russ hacked his way through the enemy, barely seeing those whom he slew. They were a blur, a mass of armour and muscle, inert fodder for his blade. He had already sensed the true enemy, and besides that presence, nothing else mattered. He ignored the wounds he took and the losses of the pack around him. He had just kept moving, grinding through the walls of sapphire and gold. He had never hated Alpharius, not like Guilliman had hated him. The Alpha Legion had been an irrelevance, an afterthought, a gang of shadow huggers at the beck and call of Horus, who were worthy of nothing more than faint scorn. At least Magnus had been a proper enemy, out in the open, getting his hands thick with sorcery where it could have been seen. Alpharius had been nothing. A whisper, a suspicion, an echo. Quite an interesting little passage there. It's clearly common knowledge amidst the Primarchs that Guilliman hated Alpharius, and it's quite a strong description too, not just disliked him, but hated. I always thought that Guilliman had merely, just had a dislike for Alpharius' tactics and ways of waging war. And maybe that is the case. However, it's clear that as far as the other Primarchs are concerned, at least Russ, it at least appeared as if Guilliman hated Alpharius. That's quite interesting considering Russ most likely definitely got that opinion before the heresy. Because he hasn't really had any interaction with Guilliman since the outbreak of the heresy. So that's some old knowledge that Russ is using. Russ's opinion of them and the Alpha Legion, almost that they aren't worth an opinion. An irrelevance. Shadow huggers at the beck and call of Horus. Russ clearly not having much respect for Alpharius' tactics either. But he wouldn't go as far to be opposed as Guilliman. He doesn't hate Alpharius, it's not worth the opinion. That was no longer the case. Russ's loathing burned white, a seam of diamond in his soul. There was no victory in this fight any longer, just a chance for vengeance under the gaze of the Harafnikal's graven images. You are a sword in the wrong hands, my brother. They had been empty words when they were spoken, and now they were even less than that. Deception or not, Magnus had deserved his fate, and if they were all damned now, then at least there was penance in eliminating another traitor before the end. Here to clear up any misconception, Russ is clear in his thoughts here. Deception or not, Magnus had deserved his fate. Face me, brother, he roared, his mighty voice rising above the thunder of battle. He crunched aside one Alpha Legionnaire with his gauntlets before eviscerating a second. Never resting, his entire body transmuted into a machine of battle fury. My ships are burning. My sons are dying. What can you fear now? And then, before him, the battlefield suddenly opened up. The surviving wolves pushed the gap wider, grappling with foes that outmatched them, but somehow forcing a chasm between the ranks. At the far end of the opening, standing alone, was a legionnaire in Terminator plate, arrayed just as all the others were. There were no unique sigils on his armour, no deference from his brothers around him, but Russ knew. Okay, first off, I just love this Russ. Just slaying Alpha Legionnaires left and right, the Wolf King in all his glory, and then that classic an entry as you're going to get in any movie, the wolves forcing an opening amidst the carnage of battle, and at the end stands the villain. At the end stands Alpharius. And it's another really intriguing insight that Russ knows it's his brother. He knows. The Primarchs, they can sense each other. Russ isn't one of the stronger psychers of the Primarchs by any means, but they all seem to have some ability, knowingly or not. They can at least all seem to sense each other's presence. They know, they don't have to see the face, they know that that's one of their brothers. And here, despite no visible difference from the other Terminators around him, Russ knows it's Alpharius. He lowered Mjolnir towards the Alpha Legionnaire's neck. "I mark you," thundered Russ, breaking into the charge that would carry him close. The Terminator braced, accepting the challenge, saying nothing but readying a long blade that spat with an emerald energy field. Before either of them could strike though, the viewports above suddenly blazed with light. The deck rocked more violently than before, buoyed by a shock more profound and more violent than any starship could generate. Harafnikal's bridge quaked, harrowed to its core, and the combatants were thrown from their feet. Even Russ was driven to his knees as the deck seesawed around them. Oh, I was so frustrated when I read that passage. We were just about to see Russ go one-on-one with another one of his brothers. And sorry to the Alpharius fans out there, but there's only one Primarch emerging from that the victor, and his name is Leman Russ. The classic anti-climax stall in the battle. Russ pulled himself to his feet, searching for his opposite number amid the confusion. Teleport bubbles were snapping open again, pulling Alpha Legion Terminators back to their own flagship before it was ripped apart by incoming fire. The lone Terminator facing Russ activated his locus. The Ether Frost raced up his armour shell. He deactivated his weapon and inclined his helm in what might have been acknowledgement or mockery, or maybe just regret that they had not locked blade. Russ watched him go, still too far away to intervene. All around him, his surviving warriors got back to their feet and reached for their weapons, hunting down any Alpha Legionnaires whose teleport Loki had failed, or limping back to command stations to oversee Harafnikal's retreat from the fury of the war zone. And there we have it. We didn't get the duel we wanted, we didn't get the duel we expected, but still a fantastic encounter between the brothers. Alpharius not even saying a word, just a little nod to his brother as he teleports away. Was it a nod of respect? Was it a till next time gadget kind of reaction from Alpharius? Or was he mocking? Was he mocking Russ? I'm not sure. I didn't read that as a mock. I read that more as a nod of respect, or a nod of a salute to his brother, saying, "Yep, okay, not this time, brother, but we'll meet again." And it's actually Dark Angels that have arrived and are aiding the Space Wolves. Even rival loyalists are still loyalists, despite these Dark Angels actually being under the command of Luthor, not the Lion. Possible future fallen Marines here saving the Space Wolves. I really enjoyed this little interaction we had between Russ and Alpharius, and yes, it is short, but it really makes me want more. Obviously that's hard now with Alpharius and Dawn's confrontation later on. However, we could easily have some interaction set before the heresy in the Great Crusade. A Russ-Alpharius debate on the ways of war. That'd be really interesting to read. Or maybe the brothers sparring perhaps. That would be great. That I'd love to see. Or maybe, just maybe, Russ may come against a reborn Alpharius. Now I wonder how that could happen. There's still Alpha Legion and Space Wolf action to come, as we know. So it definitely could and really should happen after this. I can't wait. Do you think maybe Russ might sense a slight difference between the brothers, or something slightly wrong, slightly askew? Or to him, will it just be Alpharius? But what did you guys think? A good tease, or Has it really left you wanting more, or both? As always, if you enjoy my content, please consider subscribing to the channel. I really appreciate all the support I get in helping build up this channel. I really do. You guys have been absolutely fantastic. And if you enjoyed this video in particular, then drop a like and a comment. And with that said, I'll see you all again real soon.